I'll break the chains.
I'll break the chains.
People, I mean, not even people, but long ago, jokes used to be made about certain civilizations and the belief in voodoo and a number of other witchcraft sort of type things. Understand that credit is no different. If you can sit here and justify not doing a favor for a relative or acting or behaving in a certain way in your life based on an imaginary idea such as credit, understand that you too are participating in what they call voodoo. You have been a victim. Credit is not an individual that can come to your house and actually hurt you. However, you have chosen to accept that such a daunting idea can actually harness and possess all that you are to yourself. This goes back to you actually not knowing who you are, or the individual not knowing who they are, who it is, and being just a manifestation of whatever has popped up in front of it in regards to the reality that it finds itself in. Are people themselves afraid of the reality that they find themselves in? Are people themselves afraid of the reality that they themselves are creating and facilitating? Now, if I'm going to take on a particular transformation, I'm going to come into my own self. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform into a particular body. Alright, now that's the same body, again, that ends up coming down from the, and being created by the rays of the sun and the pulling and the pushing of the moon and things like that. That ebb and flow, stuff like that. That is basically what the body is an amalgamation of. The energies from out throughout the universe, and depending on how far you want to take it, streamed out of from Sirius, because the actual sun is merely just an object that's reflecting light itself from another source. That's more or less just pulling light from another source and putting it out. You see, and that's why the sun itself also who was saying this before? Delbert Blair, I believe, was saying this. As far as the sun being hot and questioning just what this thing we have called temperature really is. Is it because the sun couldn't possibly be hot and it couldn't possibly be as bright as they say it is, simply because I think he was saying that the astronauts reported trouble finding the sun. Had trouble finding the sun. And because of space being how big it is, it couldn't possibly be that bright. And then, because of the fact that also it couldn't be hot, because heat doesn't travel through a vacuum, now the sun itself may in fact produce a certain amount of energy that may register to what the instruments that we use as being hot. However, we have no proof, because the only proof that we have about anything heat being related to that sun is based on the science that we have that surrounds itself around things being hot and cold and being perceived a certain way. So when the energy from the sun hits the planet Earth, it causes the Earth to heat. So the heat we feel anyway is actually coming from the planet. So if the heat we feel is coming from the planet anyway, again, what is causing the sun, or what suggests that the sun is hot, is based only on the fact that the same technology that we have here that results from us heating up or experiencing what we call heat, or a change or the fluctuation, and counting the fluctuations in the degrees and the variances of our feelings about this place and calling it temperature, and then even going so much again and varying it down again to the degrees and blah blah blah, for Fahrenheit, Celsius, and so on, Kelvin. Okay, when we take measurements of things outside of the Earth, we are taking measurements that don't exist, because first off, we're not there. And even enough of us aren't even there to make the measurement even real. So again, they can tell you whatever they want to tell you about a place outside of what the mass of society has been able to actually conceive of being a reality. Okay? Because when you look at it, metaphysics and things like that, those are sciences that are dictated from beyond the surface that most are accustomed to actually being around and seeing and manipulating or just dealing with on a regular basis. However, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And all the calculations and all the counting and the biggest numbers and the smallest numbers in the world does not matter, simply because of the fact that metaphysics comes from here. It's the triangle effect again, all over again. It's the triangle effect. Whatever we choose to actually accept as the focal point of our knowledge will dictate how and where our knowledge will take us and how far it will go. Do we not understand that our only job and goal here is to actually see that point through? To see that point through, the point being the peak of of all of our temples that exist on our heads, that make this reality. So we have it that we are together.